Okay, got some light for you guys. So on page 3, I'm going to skip to page 3 first, okay? So on page 3, it tells you to add this spacer here, okay? It's called a lower spacer, that's what it is. And then you got to take the stock bolt out. I never had the stock bolt. Wait a minute, I don't have the stock bolt, so I don't know what we're going to do now. I have to go find another bolt that fits. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to install this spacer right now. Alright? So if you're wondering where the brackets are, they're right here. Okay, see that? See those two bolts right there? Hiding back there? Yeah, those are the ones that we got to get to. So we got to unbolt this, and we got to unbolt this. I don't know. I don't think we'll be able to put this back on. I'm not sure. So we'll see how this install works out. Alright. Okay, sorry, I know it's kind of hard to see what's going on there because his Vega didn't want to take the controller out because he's lazy. But what we're going to do is we're just going to take these bolts out and take the bracket out. Okay? So we got to take this one out on the side here. Doesn't really do anything but hold the cowl in. So that should free this right here, and we're going to move the controller to the side a little bit so we can get access to that. I got a little plastic cover here too that I made so stuff doesn't get dirty in here. And I think it's a 4mm. Okay. There it goes. Okay, so here's what comes out. The bracket and the two bolts. Two bolts with two locking washers, okay? Okay, so now we're going to go ahead and install the spacer. The spacer should have the longer bolts already, so we're not going to reuse the bolts going to the go to the frame, okay? So it's going to go like that, okay? So I guess the spacer has holes offset to one side, okay? You're going to want to offset them to the side that, like, for the right bracket, this is the right bracket, you want to offset them to the left, okay? So let's take these bolts out. Put these bolts in here. Okay. Okay, goes something like that. Got it? That's what it's going to look like when it's installed. Well, sort of, kind of. It's going to... So go ahead and install that with the spacer. I'm going to modify it a little bit. In the diagram, it doesn't say to use the washer, but I'm going to reuse these locking washers. Okay. So we'll still have the bolts left over, but we'll reuse the locking washers because you wouldn't want this to come loose, right? That's what locking washers do. Okay. Okay. Push this into here. Okay. Okay, your bike probably won't have that plastic thing because that's something Heatsink made. Okay, so that's what it looks like installed with the spacer. See the part sticking out here. So, boys, are gonna stick out a whole lot. I'm not sure I'm gonna like this, man. We'll see. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and do the same thing for the other side. So this is what without the spacer. Okay. It's gonna move it out a whole lot. Okay, I've gone ahead and installed the other spacer right there. See, sorry, it's kind of hard to see because of the light. Alright, so next step. Okay, so the next thing we got to do is install this, the actual heatsink itself. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and install this heatsink here. Alright, there. So what we're gonna want to do is put the heatsink compound on there and then clamp it on there. So I'm not really sure how this should go. In fact, let's go get the spacer real quick to see how much space we have to work with. I'd imagine you can if you have a BAC 4000, you can probably move the BAC 4000 up and down how you want it. Okay. So, all right. Okay, Heatsink is not gonna lie, he's going to he's skipping around in the instructions a bit, okay? So one thing we gotta do is we gotta make sure where all this stuff mounts up on the BAC 4000 so we know where to clamp it onto the heatsink, okay? So the next thing we're gonna do is we're gonna make sure figure out where we can clamp this puppy. Probably want to keep it tucked up as high as possible. So I'm just gonna kind of overlay this on top of the controller, and looks like somewhere around here is good. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Okay, we'll have to move it if we can, but oh, this is gonna be such a big mess when I put the heatsink compound on there. So what I'm going to do so we don't make a big mess is I'm going to put the heatsink compound on this only, okay? And then whatever touches on this, will be thing. And I'm thinking like when we bolt it on there, we'll slide it around to make sure we get in the right place, okay? So this is it's a little tricky with the BAC 4000, okay? And I suggest you put heatsink compound in there because what that does is it helps transfer the heat, okay? It helps transfer the heat on the heatsink, all right? All right. Okay, so I'm just gonna kind of go over what the manual says. The manual says to actually install the heatsink onto the controller before you do everything else. So that's one way you could do it. I don't see how you're gonna connect all the wires if you do that, though. That's the problem. So. Okay, so I want to keep the controller tucked high up in there as much as I can. And the second step is to mount the top part of the controller on there, okay? But it doesn't tell you what to do with all the wires. The wires are the hard part because the wires are back there. So you kind of have to get everything. I think the way that Heatsink is doing it is the best way to do it, okay? So, all right, so I got the silicone heatsink compound dielectric. This is what we used for the Heatsink spec heatsink, and I'm just going to apply it to the surface of the thing here. Oh wow, it's scraped here. The fender touches this. I didn't know that. My heatsink's got a bunch of scratches on it now. That's not good. Okay, so I'm just gonna put a lot on there, and it's just gonna rub it on. It's a lot bigger than the BSC 2000, so it's gonna take up a lot more space. And don't worry, this stuff is not toxic. So you can get it. It's actually good for your skin, by the way. So just get a good, nice, thick layer on there. Okay, probably want to try to get as much of the excess off as possible, because probably when you put the heatsink on there, it's gonna ooze out the sides anyways. Okay, all right, so that looks pretty good right there. There's a kind of a better shot right there, so you can see it's all white now. Okay, you can find this stuff at Grainger for like $6 or something. It's really cheap. Okay, so there you go. You see I got those, I got 4 of those heatsink clamps out, okay? I think you're only going to need, yeah, you're only going to need 4 if you're installing a BSC 4000, okay? And what size is this? It's a 3mm is what it is, okay? So we're going to go ahead and install it. I think if you install it loose, you can probably shift it around. So we'll probably not install it super duper tight first. Okay. So kind of change the camera angle a bit. Okay. So we're gonna go ahead and install the heatsink now. I think it's fine if there's just a thick piece of heatsink compound on there, so you're going to want to make sure the 2 holes on the top up here go on the top, okay? And then we're going to go, I think the first thing we should do is probably just put the clamps on the heatsink. Let's try that first. Okay, so Heatsink is going to attempt to install this somehow. It somewhere has to be like around here somewhere, okay? Like I said, I imagine we could probably adjust it while it's on there. You just don't have to tighten it. Now it does mention to put Loctite. We'll put Loctite after. Let's just get it mounted on there. Okay, this is hard to do because it's kind of leaning. It's definitely kind of leaning downward. Okay. I'd imagine once you get like 1 or 2 of them in there, it should be pretty simple. Okay, this is what I got going on here. So what I've done is I put 2 of the mounts on there already, 2 of the clamps, okay? And then we're just going to kind of slide it into place and clamp it down. Okay, and then we'll put the other ones on the other side. Because I'd imagine you couldn't slide it once you get one side on there, so. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and slide that on there as best as we can. Okay, yep, my idea works. And then what you can do is get that doggone spacer, and line everything up already. Okay. Somewhere like around there. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and tighten the bolts now. Oh shit, the wheel's in the way. Alright, don't drop the heatsink. Okay. Oh, what a mess. Okay. I'll clamp it on as tight as I can make it. Okay, I got half of the clamps on there. Okay, so we're not sure how high or low this should be. Hopefully Hades Omega got it right, you know. If it's too low, it's going to hit the connectors, okay, and I think it is right now. Yeah, so we need to raise it a little bit, but that's okay. Once we get all the clamps in there, we'll loosen them all and we'll slide it up a little bit, and then we'll bolt it in there, okay? Yeah, this is a lot harder than I thought. So you can see there's no clamps on this side, okay? No clamps on this side, there's clamps on that side. I put the 2 clamps in here, I slid it on the side right there, then I tighten it so it won't move anymore, so it won't fall off. Okay, now we got to put the other 2 clamps on, okay, on the other side. Okay, so I'm going to get another 4 bolts and 2 clamps. And we'll clamp that puppy on the other side. I hope my controller doesn't fall off with this guy. And remember, we've got to remove them all again and put Loctite on them. Okay, so the open part goes obviously to where the heatsink is. Okay, it's kind of hard to get in there. Yeah, it's kind of hard. It's like you need like 3 hands to do this. Okay, so I'm gonna put this on the bolt already. Put this through the heatsink. Okay. Go tighten. Okay, that's one. I'm gonna go put the second one in for this. The instructions make it look like this thing is so easy to install. It's kind of actually more complicated to install. Okay, I'm going to go install the bottom one now. I didn't think about it. You could probably slide it from the top too. I don't know how much space you got enough to do that though. Okay. Okay, so the heatsink is now kind of installed. Unfortunately, I think it's got to go up a little bit. So, okay, so I've got the spacer up there on top. Okay, sorry, man. This, what can I do, man? It just keeps on getting dark on me like this. Gotta start earlier in the day. Okay, so the spacer's there on the top, and I'm gonna go put these bolts in. Hopefully, it mounts flush. If not, we might have to move it a little bit. It looks like it's crooked a little bit. Yeah, it is. So I think we're gonna have to move it up a little bit. So let's just go ahead and move it up a little bit, and we could always move it down. But if it doesn't fit, then it's not gonna fit, you know. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and try to push this heatsink up. I'm gonna loosen the clamps. Okay. I'm gonna hold it just in case it wants to fall off. It won't fall off, but it'll slide off. Okay, I'm gonna push up on the heatsink. a little bit. Okay, and then I'm going to go ahead and tighten it. That'll be okay. Okay, now I'm going to go try to see if I can install the mount onto the bike now. Or, yeah, the mount on the bike. Okay, so I've got the 2 long screws right here. Okay, I'm zoomed out a little bit so you guys can see what's going on. So it's a 5mm Allen wrench, and then we're going to need the doggone spacer again. Okay, here's the spacer. Okay, we're going to go ahead, put this through the heatsink, and this through the heatsink. Okay. Now we're going to push the controller up into there. Okay. I don't like the horn gets in the way. It's kind of annoying. Let's move this horn out of the way first. Okay. Kind of got it in there. I'm going to go ahead and start trying to tighten it down. Okay. Okay, I'm not gonna lie, I ain't got a lot of room to work with here, so. Okay. Okay. Tighten it more. What the fuck, dude? This isn't it. It's not long enough. This is not good. This isn't installed. It's not right. It's too Oh, there we go. Oh, you really gotta just push that sucker in there, huh? It fits in there like precision. I'm not gonna lie. I thought I was like, oh, this isn't gonna fit, man. What the heck?